Yeah, it was April. So when it was actually kind of funny because he spoke in April here. He preached in April. And I didn't know that he was going to be relating everything to like what they've been learning in class and stuff. And I was like the mom there taking pictures, telling everybody to get out of the way. I was so excited and so proud. So then I asked him if he would kind of come forward to do a little flip version of that for ReStart.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit just about the balance between spiritual health and physical health and how both of them are equally as important, particularly with those of us working in the church. So it applies, I think, beyond just pastors, because a lot of people are concerned about, with pastors and people like that, with are you balancing spiritual and physical health? But I think it translates to all you guys. You guys have, as I think, equally sometimes as stressful jobs as we do. Do you guys know Sarah Teague? Isn't she with you? I was talking to Sarah, and some of the stuff she deals with, I'm like, dude, God bless you. Like, that's super stressful, and I can understand it. So you guys are dealing with, on the church ministry, even in the preschool ministry side, things that are equally as stressful, I think, from the stuff that we deal with from the standpoint as pastors and leaders in the church. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that balance looks like, and I'm drawing from the sermon that I did in April. I'm not going to read it for the sake of time, but if you want to read it on your own, it's coming out of 1 Timothy chapter 4. And so in that, Paul's kind of encouraging Timothy, and he gives, like, what I would say 4 disciplines for, like, spiritual discipline that he parallels pretty well with physical health as well. So the first one he talks about is being nourished. And so I talked with Kelsey in the parentheses, we put, you have to have the right diet. So if you want to be spiritually and physically healthy, you have to have the right diet. Now, I'm going to explain what I mean by that, because the Greek word for that literally means way of life. So when we say the right diet, essentially we're meaning you have to have the right way of life. Not, I'm not going to eat, bread for 6 weeks or whatever, and then I'm going to go back on bread. My own personal weight loss journey, in college, I weighed 283 pounds, and I went as low as 188, and I've ballooned back up, so Kelsey's going to have to shrink me again, but I've put some back on. But the way I was able to do that was making healthy eating and healthy lifestyles a way of life. Diets wouldn't work for me in that sense. I tried them, so I would do the carb diet, and I wouldn't eat bread for 6 weeks, and I'd lose 15, 20 pounds or whatever. But I like bread. I mean, carbs are delicious, Kelsey, I'm sorry. But, so that diet for me, right, that was something that wasn't feasible for me to do forever. It's not like I'm never going to not have cake at a birthday party or something, or have something with carbs in it. So it wasn't feasible for me to do. So when we talk about being nourished and having the right diet, it means making that a way of life. And so the way you make that way of life successful, I think there's 2 big ways. One is you got to eat the right foods. So part of that, what she's going to help you with in ReStart particularly, is like knowing what is good food. Because sometimes we think things are good and healthy, and they're really not. We eat. One of the examples we use is for 3 years, I ate oatmeal for breakfast every single day, and that was my routine. And so I told Kelsey that, and she was like, "Why are you eating oatmeal?" Because it's good for you. She was like, "No, it's not." Oh, so,
just by itself too.
Right,
insulin.
Yeah. So there's things that even the stores, you go to the grocery store, it tricks you almost into thinking that it's a healthy alternative when it's really not. So you have to have the right foods. You got to eat the right foods. You got to make your diet a lifestyle. So the example I have of this is when you embark on this journey, no matter where you are or where you want to end up, I think there's going to be 3 stages that you're going to see. One of them is, the first one I think is a duty, right? Initially, this class, even today, as you're sitting here after running laps, probably feels like a duty. Then there's the discipline aspect, which means you choose to stick with it, even though it's frustrating sometimes and it's hard sometimes. And then it becomes a delight. So, for instance, Amanda, she was a health promotions major, so it's easier for me to eat somewhat healthy. So she started making kale slaw, okay? So that was a major duty at first. It tastes like duty, is what somebody said in another class. It wasn't good. I hated it. But as I continued to push through and became disciplined and choosing that maybe over iceberg lettuce or something, or making that as a healthier replacement for a side instead of mac and cheese every time, it eventually became a delight. So you got to eat the right foods, and then you got to make sure that you stick with it. which is point 2. You got to stay disciplined. So you got to have the right diet, but then you got to stick to the diet that you choose. Right? If you choose to make this lifestyle, again, we're defining diet as a way of life, not go take your 6-week fad. If you choose this to be a lifestyle, like, you have to remain disciplined in that. Right? You guys have heard of the spiritual disciplines. We talk about it all the time in church. Pray, read the word, fast. You guys are church people, you get it. You wouldn't want to skip those or not be disciplined in that. If you were to come in as church leaders and you weren't consistently disciplined in your prayer life and in reading the word and being alone with God, like, we would consider you spiritually unhealthy. The same is true physically. If you're not constantly staying disciplined with keeping up with physical health and trying to eat better and do these things and all that, then your physical health is going to suffer, which I think, and I think you believe this as well, in turn, your spiritual health suffers. If you're not physically healthy, it makes it harder for you to do the things that God has called you to do. And you got to stay disciplined in those spiritual things as well. The third thing, so eat right, stay disciplined, you got to train. You guys just did some of that. I saw you running laps. I'm getting ready to do that at 4.
Yep.
Oh, I'm still sore from Monday, but we got to do that anyway. So you got to train, right? You got to exercise. Eating right, that gets you a little bit of the way. That's like halfway. You guys have heard eating right is half the fight. That's what most trainers and stuff like that, the YMCA, will tell you. And they're right. Like, you can eat the right things, but then if we don't exercise and try to do things to boost heart health and some of those other things, then you're not going to get the results that you really are wanting to see probably at the end of this process. And I think in the training thing, something that we talked about in previous classes was improper training can lead to injury or burnout. So when Kelsey's giving you advice and she's working with you with form and she's working with you with mobility, making sure that you're training right is crucial. One of the things I've been battling and she's been helping me with the last 2 or 3 months is a shoulder injury from me just being stupid. And
I totally thought you were going to go with the improper squat.
My squat's terrible. My squat form is really bad. You wouldn't know it because I'm sore where I'm supposed to be sore, but I got a shoulder injury from just trying to push and do too much and not taking enough breaks and trying to do what Thor did for the Avengers. I found some workout that he did, and I'm not Chris Hemsworth, so I shouldn't be doing what he's doing, but I tried it and got hurt because I didn't train properly. And one of the statistics that they have for church people in general, church ministry leaders in general, which I think is kind of shocking, is this. They say 1 in 10 pastors make it to retirement. So I think we did the math, we have 20-some pastors on staff. So 2 of us, by that statistic that you see in the church, will retire in ministry. And a lot of that has to do not with necessarily spiritual health, but with emotional and physical stress and health and not having a good work-life balance and all these other things, not getting sleep. And so that is startling to me, that 1 in 10. And I would apply that to you guys as church ministry leaders. You guys are in that same boat. It says 70% of pastors and church leaders constantly fight depression, and 50% of church leaders are so discouraged that they would leave the ministry if they could find another job. I think this stuff is tied in together. I don't think it's just because we get ticked off at, John Smith, who comes up to us after the service and says, "Hey, you're not meeting my needs here, and I'm leaving," or the stress of the members being disgruntled. I don't think that's all the case here. I think part of it is we don't handle situations very well when we're not physically healthy and we're not mentally healthy, which is tied, you'll learn later, to your gut health and all these other things. And so you have to train correctly. The last thing that I want to challenge you guys with is to stay motivated. Because if you're not motivated, you're not going to do well. You're not going to want to complete everything that you're embarking on. Even in ReStart, you're not going to push yourself. And so this is what I told the other classes, and I want you guys to do this before you start anything else, before you progress with ReStart. I want you, when you go home at some point today or before the next class, to write down this. What is your why? Why are you in here? What is the reason that you decided or felt led to join ReStart or to restart some things in your life to get on the right track? What is your why? And that why needs to be something tangible. It doesn't need to be, for instance, like one of the examples we gave, it can be circumstantial, where it's like, I joined it because I wanted to lose 5 pounds or something, right? That's a great thing, but maybe your why should be something a little bit deeper than that. Like, my why for joining it was, I want to retire in ministry and not be a 1 out of 10 statistic, and I want to live as long as I possibly can and as healthy as I possibly can to continue to use the giftedness that God has given me. That's my why. So when I get up and Kelsey's making me do goblin squats on Thursdays when hurricanes are coming and I just want to go home and watch Netflix, I still push through and do that because my motivation is, I know that by doing this and maintaining this lifestyle, I'm going to impact more people, in your case, more kids, more parents for the long term, because I'm going to get my health in check and I'm going to live in a way where I feel like I can extend or do the best I can to extend my healthiness and my life here on earth so that I can have the most impact I possibly can. I don't want to come dragging into work every day and at 2 o'clock need a 5-hour energy or a cup of coffee or whatever because I stayed up too late or I'm not balancing my sleep and my work life. I don't want to, for me, I just got tired of being winded. Like, my office, you guys know where the student office is? It's like 0.5 miles to walk to the copier now downstairs. And I was winded. And I don't want to be like that anymore. So my why was I wanted to continue to push forward and finish strong. And as Paul says, run the race and finish strong. And so I would encourage you guys, as you embark on this journey, physically and spiritually, to write down and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is my why? What is my reason that I'm going to push through this and finish this course? Whether I do another course or not, I'm going to commit to this 8, 10 weeks, whatever the period is, and I'm going to give it all I got. And this is my reason for doing that. So, congratulations, guys. I'm pumped for you. And stay motivated and encouraged because physical health is just as important as spiritual health, okay?
Thanks.